is there a difference between being a Christian in Africa and being a Christian in the States?
Culturally, yes, right? Africans are more charismatic. They're more, man, I'm gonna get in trouble for this, but I don't care. So we're more emotional, right, with our faith. Black people are more, you want to deceive a black person, bring religion and mix it with emotions, and you get a rise out of them, and next thing you know, everyone is giving you their house rent and the mortgage, right? Because God is gonna come down in a white horse and bless you and bring you out of this thing. They just get you to shout a bit, you know what I'm saying? So in that context of it being emotional, yes, but we're more like to ourselves, like we love crowds, what you call it? We don't give each other space. You see what I'm saying? Like here, you're gonna go to someone's house for fellowship, you gotta call them first, say, hey, I'm coming, because they got work. But in Africa, in Nigeria, you just show up.
Wow.
You just knock on the door. Hey, we're here. You come from like Atlanta. You in Miami now. I'm like, hey, you didn't let me know you were coming. Yeah, I'm here. We're going to talk about Jesus today. You know what I'm saying?
That's
like,
different, right?
Yeah, it's like Jehovah's Witness on steroids,
Right.
I'm just going to show up anytime, And then in the church, because of the African spirituality, there is more of a focus on deliverance.
Quick intermission. We didn't plan this, but in the middle of our convo with Pastor Philip, he dropped the word about the power of journaling. Must listen. Check this out.
I could take somebody right now to my journal and let them read everything I wrote down in pen, and then let them check my life right now, and they can see what God gave that man in 2009 has come to pass in my life right now. And you see the power of journaling. You see the power of how God can speak to our hearts, and we write things down, and you could go back and see. It's almost like we have all the prophecies of the Old Testament written down by men who have journaled what God has given them, and we've seen these things come to pass as God says. So journaling is powerful. Get the journal, y'all. If you're watching Hardly Initiated right now and you want to keep a record of what God is doing in your life, I got it in my hand. The journal is sexy. It feels dope. It's blue. It's gold. It's nice. And I'm a journaler. I think journaling is powerful. And so if you're a person you like to write, or you just want to get your thoughts out, cop the journal. Use the journal. Record the things that God is saying and doing in your life. Yo, cop the journal.
And deliverance from darkness, deliverance from witchcraft and things like that, versus in America, now we're seeing more of that. But back in the day, America was like, we looked to American churches like cool. You looked at the TD Jakes, the Creflo Dollars, you looked at the Kenneth Hagins, the Paula Whites, and we're like, oh my gosh, that's the cool church, you know what I'm saying? Versus in Nigeria, we're like, oh, we're gonna pray fire prayers or whatever, you see what I'm saying? So in that context, yeah, there was a difference. But when you think about Christianity, you think about Christianity in this generation, it's almost like the same. It's like the same thing going on in a lot of places with a different interface, right? It's a white label, and you throw your brand on top of it, right? So just a different way, but the same thing in the background, right?
Yeah.
So.
No, that makes a lot of sense. He said it's a focus on deliverance.
Yeah.
Because
I was unfamiliar with it until recently, and then now that's all you hear about.
Yeah, and interesting, when I watch some of my African churches, it seems like I see a lot of focus on like miracles, and I see a lot of focus on the prophetic. You know what I'm saying? Is that also something that's more common?
Yes.
In African culture?
Yes, and part of the reason why that has happened is because I'm gonna say this. I feel like I'm already getting in trouble, but hey, yes, to the thing about miracles, there's something called syncretism, right? Syncretism is the mixture of Christianity and traditional beliefs, right? Traditional practices like voodoo and African mysticism or Middle Eastern mysticism, right? And a lot of those traditions and a lot of those religions focus heavily on works, like what you could do, like miracles, signs, wonders, a lot of these things. Not saying that we don't have that in Christianity, we do, but the focus of Christianity is Jesus, is the gospel, right? But then we came from this background of miracles, signs, wonders, like it impressed, like someone does something crazy to you, you got to kill them spiritually or something like that, or you got to get defense, against witchcraft and things like that. So when this gospel, this westernized gospel came to Africa, it appealed to people who are already in that mind state of being moved by works, being moved by miracles, being moved by signs, being moved by wonders. We already had native doctors or voodoo priests that could tell you tomorrow. They could tell you where you were coming from. They could tell you all these things. So that idea of chasing after power and the works of the spirits, in quotes, we were already primed for that, before the gospel came to us. And then when this charismatic movement came to Africa, it was the perfect bedrock, right? It was the perfect foundation for it, because we're already into like being moved by miracles and signs and all these things. You know what I'm saying? Like we were in need